It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're looking at the weekend of February 16th, 2007, Valentine's weekend and President's Day weekend. And like I said before, this is the weekend when the Hollywood studios put the movies out that they believe in, that they have full trust in. Whether or not the movies are actually good is anybody's guess. And the 5 movies that we have here certainly are a mix of some good, some not so good, and then some that are just really not that great overall. Let's start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is, of course, Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. I mean, they were expecting this to be a massive, massive hit, and it was a hit. It made money. It did more than Daredevil, but then again, Daredevil didn't really make a ton of money overall, like, compared to other superhero blockbuster movies. I mean, around this time, yeah, it was fine for what it was, but let's delve into this. When the motorcyclist Johnny Blaze, played by Nicolas Cage, finds out that his father, Barton Blaze, has a terminal cancer, he accepts a plea with Mephistopheles, played by Peter Fonda, giving his soul for the health of his beloved father, but the devil deceives him and Barton dies in a motorcycle accident during an exhibition. Johnny leaves the carnival, his town and his friends, and his girlfriend, played by Eva Mendes. Years later, Johnny Blaze becomes a famous motorcyclist who risks his life in the shows, and he meets Roxanne again, now a TV reporter. However, Mephistopheles proposes Johnny release his contract if he becomes the Ghost Rider, and defeat his evil son Blackheart, who wants to possess 1,000 evil souls and transform hell on Earth. And there is a potential for a good Ghost Rider movie. If you got somebody on the level of somebody like Guillermo del Toro, J.J. Abrams, who could have captured the visual style of the comic books really well. Not this movie. They got the hack director Mark Steven Johnson, who previously slept-walked his way through Daredevil and made one of the worst romantic comedies ever made with When in Rome just a couple of years later. And what a shocker! He slept his way through Ghost Rider yet again and didn't even try to make a good movie, because this is right up there with Elektra and Hulk and Howard the Duck as Marvel's worst movies ever made. And that is saying a lot. The characters are so bland, they have no personality to them at all, they're just generic characters in a superhero movie. Nicolas Cage gives nothing to the role of Ghost Rider. Eva Mendes is so boring as Roxanne. I don't care if she's hot. That doesn't make you a good damsel in distress. You gotta have something there besides just being the hot woman with the big boobs. I mean, that's literally what she is in this movie. Peter Fonda looks like he doesn't want to be there. Wes Bentley plays one of the pussiest villains in superhero movie history. If Sam Elliott can't even save your movie from this being as bad as it is, Sam friggin' Elliott can't save this movie. Think about that. The action sequences are so badly done, the CG is so terrible. Ghost Rider himself is one of the most laughingly bad CG effects in the movie, and his transformation scene as Ghost Rider is up there with the "No, not the Beast" scene from The Wicker Man, and that says a lot in terms of Cage overacting his ass off and making me laugh my ass off instead of giving a shit about him. It's like, oh, is he injured? No, I'm laughing my ass off at how stupid this is. The dialogue feels like it was literally stolen from other movies. There are so many lines in this movie that feel like they've been taken from other movies. They just replaced the names of other characters to put the name of the characters in the movie in their place. And the original dialogue that is there is so terrible and so bland, it makes me want to tear my goddamn hair out at how bad it is. I mean, this was clearly made by somebody who had no interest in creating a good movie about this character whatsoever, had no interest in the character whatsoever, and just decided to make a bland superhero origin story with cheesy action, terrible bad action scenes, shitty dialogue. It feels like watching the Roger Corman Fantastic Four all over again. It's that bad of a movie. Mark Steven Johnson should never ever direct another superhero movie, and he should just never direct another movie again, because most of his other movies are downright terrible. He does not care. He's one of those hack directors out there who just does whatever the studio wants him to do, and instead of finding a bad movie, he just does whatever the studio wants and just doesn't give a fuck. To hell with this guy. I really don't care. I mean, there's a chance that somebody could revitalize this character. I mean, he was going to be in Deadpool and Wolverine. I remember reading about when they were getting all the cameos for that movie. I think they had Nicolas Cage optioning in to do Ghost Rider, and then they just couldn't, and then they decided not to do it. But somewhere down the road, somebody's got to take this character and give him new life, honestly. I mean, it's not impossible to do, and hopefully somebody will. Hopefully not a hack director like Mark Steven Johnson. So yeah, this movie sucks. This movie really, really sucks. So yeah, avoid this one like the plague. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Bridge to Terabithia. Yes, that is exactly what happens in the movie, and neither one of these kids will die a horrible, horrible death, or just the whole movie is just completely takes a dark turn when it needs to. No, let's not talk about that in any of this commercial whatsoever, because quite literally that's what happens in this movie. From the director of Rugrats, the creator of Rugrats, no joke, Gabor Szuspo of Klasky Szuspo directed this movie. So yeah, think about that while you're watching this movie. In the film, you have adolescent children played by Josh Hutcherson and Anna Sophia Robb creating this world called Terabithia, which they use to cope with their troubled reality and spend their free time together. And this is one of those movies where I don't like it, but I don't hate it either. I like the idea of it. I never read the book this is based off of, so I'm just going straight off the movie. But there's just way too many times in this movie where it's too whimsical, too magical, or and like I said before, when it gets really, really dark. When it is, I mean, there's no real balance between the positive stuff and the negative stuff that happens in this movie. Plus, there are characters that are just kind of wasted in here. Like Zooey Deschanel is in this movie just to be sort of kind of a love interest for Josh Hutcherson, like the, teacher-student type of thing. Robert Patrick is in here, and then I guess he's fine as the dad of Josh Hutcherson's character, if I'm not mistaken. But I guess to the movie's credit, it's passable. It does the job that it does. And like I said, I haven't read the book, so I'm just going off of the movie. I just didn't think it was that great overall. I don't think it was bad. I just thought it was just okay. Nothing too great, nothing too spectacular. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Hugh Grant and Drew Barrymore in the romantic comedy, Music and Lyrics. So the concept overall is actually pretty good. It focuses on the relationship that evolves between a former pop music idol played by Hugh Grant and an aspiring writer played by Drew Barrymore as they struggle to compose a song for a reigning pop diva. And the movie, in this case, Hugh Grant is basically just playing the other guy from Wham. I mean, they literally make it clear that, this whole thing, his whole character is supposed to be Andrew Ridge. What was it, Andrew Ridgely? Andrew Ridgely or Andrew McCarthy? It wasn't Andrew McCarthy, was it? Yeah, it was right, Andrew Ridgely. Of course, George Michael was the one who went on to have the bigger success, and that's a funny concept right from the get-go. And the movie itself is good. It's nothing too spectacular, nothing too amazing, but it's a good movie, directed by the same guy who gave us Miss Congeniality, who wrote the script for the first one. It's a fun concept overall. Hugh Grant and Drew Barrymore have some nice chemistry. The songs overall are very catchy, and you got a really good cast that includes Brad Garrett, Kristen Johnson from Third Rock from the Sun, and Campbell Scott. Overall, it's a really good movie. There's nothing really much more I can say about it because it is very much a light, breezy romantic comedy that works because of how good the leads are, and their chemistry really good, is very strong. The music is really good. The comedy can be very funny at times. Not much more to say about that one. A really good movie. Highly recommend checking it out. It's a good, fun film. So let's go ahead and move on to the next film we have here, which is Tyler Perry's Daddy's Little Girls. When Tyler Perry tried to tell everybody, hey, I'm not just the guy who plays Medea, and yet this movie did not do so well, and everyone was just like, no, we want more Medea, and just like, okay, fuck it, I'll just go back to doing Medea movies for the rest of my life, pretty much. I mean, this is really that movie in general. It has the story of a lawyer who helps a mechanic in a custody battle against his mean-spirited ex-wife, over who give custody of their daughters, the father being played by Idris Elba, and Gabrielle Union playing the lawyer in this. And, I like Gabrielle Union. Every time I see her in a movie, I'm always there. I always think she's really good in those movies. And how can you go wrong with Idris Elba? As far as this movie goes, it's actually probably one of Tyler Perry's better movies in general, in terms of, showing that the range that he has outside of his normal stick in general. He's not involved in this in terms of acting. You don't see Medea in here. There's actually one of his few movies where he doesn't get involved in the terms of the starring roles in here, and just lets the stars themselves take over the film. And it's a decent film. It's nothing too extravagant, nothing too amazing, but it definitely shows you what Tyler Perry can do, when he's not just playing the Medea character. And just kind of like everything else with other filmmakers, like when Michael Bay tried to do a decent movie that didn't involve explosions a lot with The Island, nobody went to go see that movie. And that's probably one of his better movies, and yet nobody went to go see it. Same thing with Pain and Gain. So yeah, it's just a tough thing to do in general. You really have to figure out, what's going to appeal to most people overall, and trying to do a smaller movie like this it's not always going to work all the time. And unfortunately, it didn't really work in terms of the box office, but as far as the film itself goes, it's actually not that bad. It's actually a pretty good movie overall, mostly because the lead stars in here are so good. You also have Louis Gossett Jr., Tracy Ellis Ross, of course, now from Blackish, and before that, Girlfriends. You know, a lot of really good talent involved in here. So the movie itself, overall, it's good. It's nothing too spectacular, nothing too amazing, but a good movie. One that I would say that I'd recommend checking out if you're looking for one of Tyler Perry's few decent movies as a director. This is definitely one of his best ones, in my opinion. So that's Daddy's Little Girl. So let's go ahead and move on to the last one we have here. Probably the best overall movie of the weekend, which is Breach. So as the trailer kind of let you in on, this is based on the true story of Robert Hansen, an FBI agent convicted of spying for the Soviet Union and later Russia for more than 2 decades. And it stars Chris Cooper here as Robert Hansen and Ryan Phillippe as Eric O'Neill, the FBI investigator who helped bring about his downfall. This was directed and co-written by Billy Ray, who wrote and directed Shattered Glass, which is a great movie starring Hayden Christensen. And this is a really good movie, too. You got a star-studded cast that includes Chris Cooper, Ryan Phillippe, Laura Linney, Dennis Haysbert. A lot of really good talent in here. A really engaging storyline here about this true story about this guy this FBI agent who basically was spying for the enemy and got away with it for the longest period of time. And here's the way they brought him down. And it's a really good movie. It's a really engaging mystery. It's a really engaging thrill ride overall, figuring out how they're going to get this guy who's supposed to be really smart and able to, sneak around as much as he does doing this. And sure enough, this is the story of how they got him. And it's a really engaging storyline here with a lot of good characters, a lot of good mystery, and a good solid script overall to make you get invested in what's going on here and how they got this guy in the end. And it's a really good film. Not much more to say about this one. Definitely check it out. Like I said, it's my favorite film of the entire weekend, which wasn't an overall strong weekend, but hey, this is still a really good movie that should definitely be checked out. Breach. And so, with all of that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Now, the next time we meet, we take a look at 3 more movies, including Jim Carrey starring in Joel Schumacher's The Number 23, the big screen debut of the Reno 911 Sheriff's Department, Reno 911 Miami, and Billy Bob Thornton and Virginia Madsen starring in the space drama, uplifting family dramedy, if you will. It's a movie with Billy Bob Thornton and Virginia Madsen, The Astronaut Farmer. So we'll take a look at those 3 movies. That'll be coming up on tomorrow's show. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification button, and also that bell, because you get updates on when new videos come out. We do post every day. So with all that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.